Well, hey guys, good morning. Big A coming to you live from the station camp Greenway. What a great day it is. A little cold out here this morning, but it's middle of January. It's supposed to be cold here in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope you're having a great day. Let's make it awesome today. One of the things that I want to talk to you just a little bit about is your spouse. And I didn't know if I was on. I had to look up at the top of the screen. I wasn't sure Big A was coming to you live or not. Hey, I titled this, My Spouse and I Seem Like We're on Opposite Pages many of the times. I want to talk to you about that because it's really important. We talk about business deals and we talk about starting new ventures and we want to be excited about it. The Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, Big A and Robin will celebrate 37 years this coming June. I can't wait, man. It's been awesome. But we've had our conflicts, and that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit. I tease oftentimes, and I say, man, there's some days I could eat her up. And then there's other days I wished I had. And so I know you feel that way also. Listen, all of us do. We're two different people. We were raised in two different environments. We have two different opinions, and we should have two different opinions. I think about when we were dating, you know, she could do no wrong. And then after you get married, it's like they can do no right. And I just be honest with you, we have to take a personal assessment years down the road. We talked about that a few weeks ago. We're the one maybe that is the problem the majority of the time. And I want to encourage you to do that, to kind of take a personal assessment. But what I want to talk about more than anything is you guys getting on the same page. We can start new businesses and we can have children and all those kind of things. But when you're married and you're not on the same page as your wife, it makes it really, really difficult to be successful. Now, you may be successful financially, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be successful at all if you and your spouse are not on the same page. And I want to encourage you some ways to maybe get that accomplished. One of the ways that Robin and I have is just through communication. And I know that oftentimes people want to argue and fight because they want to prove their way. But if you get into a posture of saying, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is me, and you go to that person and you say, you know what, maybe I am the problem, and you kind of put yourself out there in a position to say, I don't want to force you to do something. I don't want to beat you into submission to do it my way, so let's just kind of talk through it. It kind of diffuses things. You ever notice you can go up and grab somebody by the arm and squeeze them hard, and when you do that, their inclination is to get away. They want to get free, and that's what you do oftentimes with trying to force people into your seeing things your way. And if you'll let go, if you'll yield, and you'll say, hey honey, listen, I don't really see it your way, but let's talk through it. Let's see if we can come to some agreement, and you help me understand kind of where you're coming from, and I'll do the same thing. And it kind of diffuses the argument. Recently, Robin and I, she's going to get mad at me for telling this story. She watches these. I'm sorry, honey. We were standing at the kitchen island, and I wanted to do something. She didn't want me to do it, and I really wanted to do it bad, and it's irrelevant what it was. But finally, after an hour of us talking through this, she said, just do whatever you want. Just go ahead. And I said, no, I'm not doing that, because I know that kind of stuff comes back to haunt you. I said, I want us to agree on something, not just go ahead and do it, because most of the time that's the way arguments end. It's like, go do whatever you want to do. And I've learned after 37 years, you'll discuss it again if you don't come to some resolution. So we stood there and we talked through it another probably half hour. And finally we had compromised. We agreed to agree. And that's what you've got to do. We've got a rule at my house. We don't do it unless we both agree. And I'm going to tell you something, that'll serve you well as well if you'll implement that strategy. Now it takes a lot of conversation oftentimes to get to that point, but it'll serve you well if you will implement that. Sometimes you can't come to an agreement. You just see things your way and you take a position and a stand on it. Maybe you need professional help. Maybe you need a counselor. Floyd Dawson here in Hendersonville is an awesome guy. Many people go to him whether things are bad or good, and Floyd helps you work through things because, as I've told you many times before, other people see you differently than you see yourself. And Floyd helps uncover those things. Robin and I for years went to Floyd. And I'd even go now, even when things are good. I want to go and make sure I'm not missing something. I want to be sure that I'm not reading my own press clippings or getting selfish inside of myself. and I want to be able to personally evaluate myself on an ongoing basis. Guys, let me tell you something. You can't fix your spouse. The only person that you can fix is you. And you need to spend an inordinate amount of time in personal development. You need to constantly be evaluating yourself, looking at your motives, the things that you should and shouldn't do. You can't make your spouse do anything. What you can do is love them well and go to them and say, I want to be the mate for you that God intended me to be. Oftentimes I get selfish and I have to look at myself and say, what is my motivation? What am I trying to do? I signed up to be the servant leader of my home, to be the best father, to be the best husband, to be the best leader in my community and for my family. And sometimes you get selfish and you want to do it your way, and you've got to constantly be evaluating that. Listen, guys, you signed up to be a great dad, a great husband. You need to do those things. And then when you do the right things and you help your mate, they're going to want you to do the things that you want to do. It's so funny how that works. If you'll do the things around the house, you'll help your wife, she'll want you to go do those other activities. Now, let's just be honest. You know me, I get in trouble. Some people are jerks. They just are. They're just selfish, and they're not going to want to do what I'm talking about. And I can't help you. If that's the case, if your wife or your husband doesn't want to do the things that they should do, I can't help you with that. I'm sorry. I wish there was a solution for that. I coach guys all the time and help them work through issues. But if a person is unwilling, you can't make them. But here's what I have seen. I've seen this time and time and time again. When you get yourself into a posture of being that servant leader, and you work on yourself in the personal development area, and you strive to be the best husband or the best wife that you could possibly be, my goodness, I can't even imagine the other person not seeing that and being willing to come along and say, I'm going to do the same thing. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of communication on both of your parts. But if you're willing to do that, I promise you the dividends will be immeasurable. Guys, we need to step up to the plate. We need to help our wives. Listen, every Tuesday I help Robin dust. I go out to the car and get the groceries when she gets home. I help her pick up. I live there. It's not her role and responsibility to do those things because I'm at work. I can't stand it when I hear guys say, I bring in the money and it's your... You're full of crap. I'm sorry. You're crazy. That is no way to develop a relationship. Same way Robin does. She comes along to me and says, what can I help you do? Is there something I could take upon and do myself or view for the top? Is there anything I can do to help you? We're partners. I mean, we're team members. It's not you and me and your job, their job. It's us. We're living this life together. And I promise you, when you develop that attitude of being that servant leader, yes, some people are going to take advantage of it. I know what some of you are saying. I've been doing that for years and my husband just won't do this or my wife won't do this. Well, hey, you keep doing the right thing, right? You can't not do the right thing because that person won't give in. You keep praying for that person, keep encouraging that person, edifying them, lifting them up, doing the right thing. You can never go wrong doing the right thing. Now, they may not turn around and do exactly like you want them to do, but you cannot go wrong doing the right thing. I want you guys to get on the same page. And it's hard work. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's exhausting sometimes. It's tiring to sit there and try to get on the same page. But let me tell you what's worse. Divorce is worse. You know, it is. There's no question about it. Fight through it. Get in there and fight through it. It's worth it. Your wife is worth it. Your husband's worth it. Your children are worth it. I promise you it's worth the effort. But you've got to be willing to let go. You've got to be willing to love that person unconditionally. You've got to be willing to communicate regularly and not be that selfish pig and just think about yourself. And when you look outward and think of others more than you think of yourself, good things happen. It just takes time. Be patient, guys. I know you're trying to start businesses and I know you're trying to do things like that. It's much more fun, if that's such a word. My grammar's terrible. It's much funner, better when you're doing it together, when you have a teammate that you can pull together. It is exhausting to try to do these things on your own. There's always going to be a constant battle. There's always going to be a fight. It's always going to be a situation to where you feel like you're alone. And I just feel like if you'll take the time, you'll put the effort, you'll put the energy, and do the right things, it'll pay huge dividends, okay? All right. I'm talking too long on some of these. I got to shorten them up a little bit. You guys are going to get tired of hearing me. But I want your relationship to be all it can be, because it's amazing. Man, when it is good, it is so fun to be able to lock arms with your mate and say, we're going to do this journey together. You got a long time to live together. You want it sweet. You want it good. You want it positive. You want to have that team spirit in your house. Listen, your children are watching that example, right? And whatever you're doing, what we do in moderation, our children do in excess. And if you do it well, you could be changing generations to come. So guys, listen, sit on the couch tonight, talk through it, do the personal assessment, go get professional counseling if you need it, get good friends around you, somebody that can encourage you. Don't be strangers in the same household. Love your mate well, and it will serve you well. I'm Big A. I'm coming to you live from the Station Camp Greenway. We'll see you.